for joining us today. Much appreciated.
Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. How are things going during the quarantine?
Uh yeah, they're good. I guess it's been a period of change for most people and of of like self
Okay,
reflection.
okay. What
It's
was
been
what was
good.
the lockdown like in the UK?
Uh well, it was quite um it was a bit sudden. I mean, at least in my experience, because I think just the government couldn't really decide
What
what
to
to
do?
do.
Yeah.
Suddenly it was like, okay, this is happening. So within a week, we had to like, yeah, go into lockdown. So there wasn't much of a sort of leading up to it. There wasn't a lot there.
Mm. Are things like easing up now, or is it still like super restricted over there?
No, it's a lot. It's a lot more relaxed now. I think it's been like almost a month now that they sort of started relaxing. It's always been very vague what they tell us. I imagine it's similar
Mm.
in the US. So
Yes.
quite vague, and but they have stopped releasing numbers, so I think the rates are going up again since they relaxed it. So it's there's talk that there might be another like mini lockdown.
Wow, wow. Yeah, it's pretty much the same over here, but we don't really have good leadership in this area, so we don't know what to do.
I mean, yeah, same here. It's not been great, to be honest. But,
Yeah. So let's get into the questions. Where are you from, and where did you grow up?
so I'm originally from Mexico. I was born in Mexico City, but grew up um, in the Pacific coast in a small town called Colima. And
Okay.
then when I was 18, I moved to England, and I did my university here, and I've been here since then, basically. So it's been 11, almost 11 years, if not 12 now. I don't, yeah.
So why England?
Well, my sister, I have an older sister. She's quite a lot older than me. And she moved to England when I was really little. So I kind of grew up coming to England to visit her. And I don't know, there was something about it that I always loved. And then I knew I always wanted to leave Mexico. I wanted to go somewhere else. And
Hmm.
I didn't want to go to the US because I kind of wanted to go somewhere further away. Um,
Yeah.
and and English like is the only language I can speak apart from Spanish. So
Hmm.
England just seemed like the most logical place because my sister had family and I knew people here, so it just seemed, yeah, like
So was it once you got settled, was it like a culture shock? Like was it extremely different from what you grew up knowing and what you grew up around?
yeah, it was really different. I mean, when I first arrived, I because you can't really go straight into university here
Hmm.
if you are from overseas. So you have to do this like introductory year where I basically was just me and other foreign students. So the first year of my life as a student in England, I didn't knew anyone English. All of my friends were international,
Hmm.
um, which was really nice. And it wasn't until I actually started my degree and started meeting English people that there was more of a shock because the first year felt more of like a shared of because everyone was foreign, so
Hmm.
we were all kind of in the same boat. And then afterwards, it was a bit more of a oh, I'm the only one that
Yeah.
from abroad. Um, so yeah, it was later that it kind of I kind of realized how different or like that I was in a very different place.
Yeah. So what's your educational background?
So I have a degree in like my first degree was in science because I kind of grew up always there was always this quote like am I am I going to become an artist or am I going to become a scientist, and
Hmm.
it seemed like the more kind of grown up thing to do for some reason, to become a scientist. So I went on through that route, and I my first degree is in molecular biology, um and then I kind of realized, no, I don't want to be a scientist.
Mhm.
uh, and then yeah, so then afterwards I did my master's in illustration, and yeah, I've been doing art since.
How did your relatives react when you said, instead of doing science, I would rather be an artist?
I think they kind of expected that. I mean, at least like, quite close, like my mom and my sister that are quite, I'm quite close to, they, I think they kind of, when I picked science, were a bit like, really. um
Hmm.
so yeah, they kind of, yeah, it wasn't a shock. um
So have you always been an artist since you were like a little kid, like drawing and whatnot?
yeah, like always, it's been, I guess for me, like for many artists, it's been the way I communicate and like I
Mm,
myself. So yeah, since I can remember, like drawing has been, it's been there. And like, yeah.
nice. What type of materials do you use for your work?
So um I mean a lot, because not having had like, I mean I do have a master's in illustration, but I didn't do like a proper degree, so I never like learned about, like there's a lot of materials I'm still kind of um exploring and like getting introduced to.
Mm,
But I would say mainly I use watercolors, acrylics, so paint mediums, like yeah,
very
mainly.
nice. When I look at your recent body of work, it is vibrant and symbolizes a desert-like space with a generous amount of blue skies, healthy agriculture, and an atmosphere that invokes warmth in terms of climate. What is the inspiration or reference of these paintings?
So basically, when we first went into lockdown, I was reading this book by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, which is like a collection of short stories, and that kind of like brought me back to my hometown and to where I'm from, and it kind of brought back all these memories of all these places in
Mm,
my mind, and that kind of paired with being in isolation, and not being able to go outside, and like craving that sense of space and nature, that kind of was like what informed um, the paintings. And yeah, I guess it was like an homage to like where I'm from in a way, and like missing that, yeah, that nature. And like I spent so many years trying to get out, and now that I'm abroad, like
mm.
I want to go back all the time. So it's quite, yeah, like nostalgia, and like combined with like what happened and the lockdown, it kind of, yeah, that's what inspired the paintings.
And I'm pretty sure the weather is a lot nicer than it is over there.
Yes, yeah, especially my hometown is in the Pacific, so it's a tropical place. So basically, it's, yeah, sunshine pretty much every day.
Hmm. Hmm. So would you say the lockdown has helped your creativity or made you, I guess, less creative?
Oh, I think it's absolutely helped. I think it just simply because it's given me the time and space to actually do my art.
Mm,
Um, yeah, because normally, I mean, I work every day and I travel to work like a couple of hours. So I'm normally tired and like don't wanna do very much. So this is really giving me a space to like do it.
mm, mm. Some a space to, I guess, focus more on yourself rather than the surroundings in which you have to, like, I guess, survive or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. It's just having time like that. We don't normally have so much time.
mm, mm. So what is like the main narrative behind your work?
So again, I guess it goes a lot with this sense of place and space, but it's also, I mean, I really like um, magic realism literature, and I've been reading a lot of it since I'm young, just because a lot of Latin American writers do touch topics that deal with like magical realism, so it's quite embedded in like in myself. And I love it because I feel like it really represents Latin America in such a good way. Like
Mm,
this sense of like it's all real, but like there's so much magic about the culture that it really like evokes Latin America for me. So yeah, a lot of the narratives are like to do with that, and to do with memory and like my own recollections of of where I'm from, my own recollections of the people from Mexico, of the places I've seen, of the culture in general. And it's just that kind of sense of that my memories are like only I can experience the memories the way I experience this, and that's kind of gives me like a sense of like pleasant loneliness within the memories. So
mm,
it's kind of like this narrative of yeah, people in like big spaces, and yeah, kind of evoking this like sense of yeah, of nostalgia and of place.
mm. So basically, is it kind of like trying to relive your childhood through your art?
I guess so, in a way. And I guess not just that, but kind of like celebrate the things about growing up that have really sort of stuck in my mind. Like there's
Mm,
little things that like I really remember going to the beach, and like there's always people in the beach feeding you, well, selling you food. And to me, like it's always stuck in my mind. Like, and like, you know, there's a man selling mangoes, like, you know, you'll always find like people selling like fruit, and like, and all of these things have really stuck in my mind. And it's like kind of a way of like celebrating, I guess.
mm, mm. I've noticed that a lot of artists that I've come across have a real sense of community within their work, and just taking different elements from maybe people you observe or people you know personally. They often put that into their art just to, I guess, create create let's say a book within a painting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I think, I guess as artists, our way of like our way of expressing is what we know and what we lived and what we've experienced. And yeah, like it's all of these kind of things that have been imprinted, and like all these people, like you say, that have been imprinted, all these colors, all of
Mm,
that. And I guess our way of you know, putting that out is through our art. So
absolutely, absolutely. How did you know that illustration was the medium for you as an artist?
I didn't know. It kind of happened, I guess, because I didn't, like I said, I did biology as my first degree, and then I moved to London, and I kind of started doing drawings for my friends and like commissions here and there, and it kind of like I kind of started doing that, and then I thought, oh, maybe I can actually make a living out of this. Maybe I can actually, you know, be a be an artist and do art, and that's kind of how I decided, oh, maybe I should have some sort of formal training, and illustration seemed like the most like logical thing to do.
Hmm, hmm. How important? How important is how important is illustrating current times within your art? Do you feel that it's a responsibility for you to create uh, pieces that illustrate current events, or not?
Yeah, I think as as people, not just as artists, we do have sort of a responsibility to like to what's going on around us. And I mean, art is such a, in my mind, gentle way of um, getting people to talk about things, and you know, opening discussions and having discourse about things, and to get people to think about stuff in like quite a like gentle way. Like, you know, by looking at a picture, you can you can evoke people's, like make people think about certain things. And so I think definitely as artists, um, we have a responsibility to yeah to incite those conversations in people.
Absolutely. With gaining a master's in illustration from the University of Arts in London. How important is formal education to you?
Well, I mean, I have mixed feelings about formal education because I definitely think you don't need a degree to be an artist or to be a whatever. I don't think going to university is um, what people should do necessarily, just because simply not everyone can go to university, and it shouldn't be like what people expect from people. And especially now, I think there's like so many ways in which you can um, educate yourself, in which you can learn. Like, I mean, there's resources everywhere nowadays.
Mhm.
So I think definitely it helps, not because it gives you a paper that says, oh, you did this degree, because I guess for a lot of artists is where they are giving the time and the space to develop and to explore and to learn. So so I think that's why it's important, because it allows for that space, but not so much because it gives you a title. So
Yeah, yeah. I think just from personal experience, I believe that just having a center for artists to come together and network and bounce ideas off of each other is extremely important. The only dislike I would say that I have about education is the price tag that comes with it.
yeah, exactly. I think definitely for me, my masters, like the people I learned the most from was my peers. Like,
Mm,
sure, like we had teachers and everything, but yeah, definitely one of the most valuable things was meeting other people that had a similar interest and a similar drive. So that was invaluable. But yeah, I think, like you say, like it's not everyone can afford a degree, and not everyone should be expected, especially in the art world that is so elitist. And like, I've been to galleries that have literally told me, you don't have a fine arts degree, we can't. So it's, and I mean, that happens. So it's,
really?
yeah, I mean, the art world is quite snobbish. I
Mm,
mean, I don't know everywhere, but definitely here. Not everyone, obviously. There's a lot of people that want to celebrate everyone, but yeah, definitely it's an intimidating world, the art world, for sure.
what are some lessons you've learned in the educational setting?
Well, I think I've learned to make use of you know I mean, like we've said, it's so expensive,
Mm,
but I think for me is the only time I've had access to so many things. Like when I went to art school, um it was like going to Disneyland for me. It was like, oh my
mm,
god, there was all of these resources that I didn't even knew. Like, there was like ceramics, like a foundry. There was so many things that I suddenly like could have access to, that for me that was like the biggest sort of thing I took. I did everything. Like, even though I was doing illustration, I did a bronze sculpture. I did, like, because I just wanted to learn all of the things.
mm.
So for me, yeah, that was like the biggest lesson, I guess, that make use of all of the resources and like learn all of the things you can.
Yeah, that's definitely a plus. Having unlimited resources to your disposal. What is your art making process? Help us imagine how you prepare for a new concept.
So it kind of, I guess it differs. It comes from different places. I guess sometimes it's like an idea. Sometimes it's something very, very like concise, as having an image in my head, and like then sketching that, and then yeah, drawing that. Sometimes it just comes from, even from other artists. Like, I think it's really nice that as artists we can get inspired by each other.
Mm-hmm.
um, Sometimes I'll see work by other people and that'll inform like my own work. Sometimes it's just like random things. Like, I saw this video of a sea turtle the other day, and where I'm from, they're sea turtles, and like every year they come and they lay eggs, and it's a big part of the place where I'm from, of the culture. So
Mm-hmm.
it kind of really brought me back, and then I was like, oh, I want to do a painting about that sea turtle's journey and like all of that. So yeah, it's just kind of, I guess, different things, like whether it's ideas or memories, to like just things that I see that inform what my work. Yeah.
That's really amazing. How important is it to address identity or your heritage in your work?
I mean, for me, it's super important. I mean, most of my work is about my identity and where I'm from. And I don't think, I mean, it's everything I paint um, is informed by my culture. And I think for me, it's really important. Like my identity and who I am is what's made me an artist, is what's made me, do the things I'm doing now. So for me, yeah, it's huge. And when I see that in other people, I really value that, because it's kind of like quite an intimate thing. I think like our where we come from and our culture is very intimate, and it's very like tells a lot of who we are.
Mm,
So for me, that's really nice when I see that on other people and on other artists. Like it's quite nice. So and I think it's also really nice to celebrate where you're from.
absolutely. I believe that cultures unite when they just simply have conversations with each other. It's hard to challenge yourself when you stick to one one place. You have conversations with people who think and talk like you, and it's not really challenging whatsoever. But I believe that people expressing their backgrounds and cultures are very important for just getting to understand each other as a whole.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's also, yeah, it's really nice to be able to find things in common, like in
Mm,
between cultures, and just making that realization that we all come from somewhere, and like we all have a story to tell, and everyone has something to say, and it's quite nice to share that and exchange those stories.
yes, yes. What inspires you beyond making art?
Well, I am beyond making art. I guess people and places. I'm really fascinated by people, and like I guess in my mind sometimes I see people like these, like their own like novels, and like I want to
Mm,
read. And I find different people and meeting different people and learning their stories quite interesting. And I'm not as brave now, but when I was younger I used to love just going places and meeting strangers and like spending like hours just talking to them and drinking, and then never seeing them again, but like having those, like I used to love doing that. And like I met loads of really interesting people um like that. And it was, yeah, now I'm a bit more shy for some reason. Yeah, and just places, traveling, I guess, um and seeing places and how they change and how what they mean to other people is quite, I really like it.
How often did you travel before everything just got shut down?
Well, I mean, quite often, I guess. I mean, I guess twice a year, at least 2 to 3 times a year. I mean, I go to Mexico. I try to go to Mexico at least once a year because my family is still there.
Mm.
So normally one trip to Mexico, and then one or two little smaller trips to somewhere a bit more close by. But yeah, I try to travel as much as I can. I mean, obviously it's expensive, so you
Yeah.
can't watch. But yeah, I always, it's really satisfying to go and like see how other people live in other places.
Where's the just a random question, where is like your ultimate travel location that you want to visit in the future?
That I haven't been, or
Yeah, that you haven't been to yet, or
uh,
somewhere you've been. It's fine.
I think that I haven't been. I guess Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan, um,
Mm.
and yeah, it's always been like one of those places that is like in my bucket list. So yeah, if I could, I would. I mean, it's quite expensive to go to Japan, so I haven't had the chance. Um, yeah, I would love to go to Japan.
Yeah, I definitely hope you are able to make that trip when everything calms down. What are you hoping to further explore with art making?
Well, at the moment, at the moment, but for a while now, I've been really interested in this idea of like immigration and being an immigrant and what it
Mhm.
means um to be an immigrant. And like, I mean, obviously, I'm an immigrant here,
Mm,
so like in my experience, but also like different experiences of being an immigrant, from like second generations, from like, and I quite like to create like just a collage of all of these experiences and like
mhm,
and try and learn. And yeah, because for me it's, I mean, obviously it's personal, but it's also, I mean, more recently with everything that's happened, it's kind of brought to the surface like how, you know, how different it is for people, um how like the experiences of people are quite different, and how like people that have like unfortunately come from certain backgrounds are gonna have the best of experiences sometimes.
mm,
um and yeah, I would just like, I mean, I would love to, you know, talk to refugees, to like all of these different voices that have a relationship with immigration. And I mean, partly also because I think the word immigrant has such a negative connotation, and
mm.
it would be really nice to do something where it's actually a positive thing, and where like being an immigrant is something to be proud of and to celebrate and to, yeah. So,
I mean, it just baffles me that I understand the use of borders, but it baffles me when people just want to be divided and separated and just create tribalism when
mm,
things will work out better once if we just like united and came to some type of terms.
yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it would be so nice if, you
Yeah.
know, people could move wherever they wanted. And you know, I mean, unfortunately you can't choose where you're born, but you
Mm,
choose where you go. And like, if you know, it's also not about like saying, oh, where I'm from is not as good, but, and you know, there's certain places where there's more opportunities for people, and so obviously there's more people trying to go to certain places just because, you know, there's more opportunities, and there shouldn't be, they shouldn't not be able to
absolutely.
places. And like, you know, every destiny, I guess, is an origin. Like, why is it that where you're born or where you're from, like, is like where you should stay or where you should, you know, it defines who you are and it informs who you are. But you know, you can go anywhere, we can go anywhere.
And I think traditionally, humans are nomadic peoples. Like I mean, we may stay in one spot for so long, but so many of us just have the urge to travel and visit different places and take in different cultures. I think it makes us better as people to, like I said before, just conversate with other cultures and appreciate other people's backgrounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, every single country in the world is made of like people from other places. Like,
Yeah.
one is like everywhere is a mesh of people that have come
Mhm.
there. And so there's no such thing as like you are from here and you're from there. Like, we're all kind of from everywhere.
Absolutely. Are you creatively satisfied?
Yeah, I would say at the moment I am. Again, I guess I have had the time to actually be creative. um yeah, going back to work is going to be, for me, it's going to be more of a shock going out of the lockdown than into lockdown, because I'm going to have to kind of give up a lot of that time I have to create. So,
Mm. Yeah, we should still, once everything, I guess, goes back to what it used to be, we should still try to dedicate maybe a few hours to ourselves, especially creatives like you and I, because once we get lost in the same wake wash work routine, it becomes monotonous, and I think it kills us, our, our creative spirits. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, I've definitely, my mental health is so much better. Like I feel almost guilty that like mentally and emotionally I'm quite well at the moment, because obviously it's been such a hard time for so many people. But
Mm,
I'm like quite pleased that, like, I'm quite happy and quite well mentally, because I've had so much time to just, reflect and do the things I love.
yeah, this COVID thing is definitely a tragedy, but I think it's also a blessing for people who are just for people to relax and work on themselves, and just focus on self to, just have a break basically.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess it's gonna change a little bit the way we operate and the way we see a lot of people. I've realized, oh, actually, I don't have to go into an office every day, and it's
Hmm.
possible to like be at home, and it's possible to have more time.
Yeah. What has made you proud of your recent accomplishments?
Uh, well, that's made me proud. Well, I guess if I'm being quite honest, just like having been seen by, I mean, since the lockdown, I've been like posting more things and just engaging a little bit more in social media, which I don't normally do because I don't have time. And I mean, it has been a great outlet. And in a way, it's like validation from people, because when you're an artist that is not necessarily famous, and you don't have a gallery representing you, or like people showing your work for you, like,
Hmm.
I mean, I guess for me social media is the only way I have to show my work. And it's been really the response I've gotten, it's been wonderful and lovely, and it's kind of, like I said, given me validation as an artist, and given me like, oh, people like my work, I can continue doing this. And so that's been really nice.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Do you see yourself being a full-time artist sometime in the future?
Well, I mean, hopefully, I guess that's the dream. Yeah, I would love to. I mean, for me, a lot of what I do is also to do with the community. So I think I would still want to keep that aspect of working with people. But
Mm.
yeah, hopefully, doing art with people, that would be the best. And
Um, how important is it for artists to have a website or some type of social media?
I think nowadays is I mean, for me, it's been where I have been seen. So for
Mm,
me, it's really important. So I guess, yeah, it's important just because it gives you visibility, and it's, I guess, a place where people like see what you're doing and who you are. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the times when you're, entering competitions or applying for open calls or whatever and whatnot, you have to put in a website and an Instagram or Facebook, or so yeah. So it is quite important in the way that is the only way people have to see your work, unless you're famous.
definitely. Um, I think I might have asked this before, but I'm not sure. What are you doing when you're not creating art?
So I work for a mental health charity. So it's like a mental health and arts charity. We do arts for people. So we work with people that have experiences with mental health, and it's pretty much like a community space where people can come and sort of switch off and do some art and do something creative. And we do workshops and all sorts of things. So yeah, that's what I do. That's what's my job basically. Which is
That's
a really lovely job.
so. Was it a job that you actively search for? Do you feel the need to like give back to the community or?
Yeah, I think I'm very interested in education in general, and like using art as a vehicle to,
Mm,
like, for people to have a positive or a better well-being and express themselves. And so yeah, definitely, while I was doing my master's, I was just looking for jobs, and when I saw this one, it just kind of was like, oh, this is perfect, I would love to. And yeah, I've been there for almost 4 years now, so it's a really lovely place.
just a one more question. Did you have any like favorite artists who inspired you growing up?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite like I loved Van Gogh since I'm little, and I remember seeing Starry Night and being like, wow. So he was one of the artists that when I was little was like quite like, yeah, quite important. And then just growing up, and as I've become more of a serious artist, yeah, more, I guess, people like Frida Kahlo, people like
Mm,
Remedios Varo, people that are like, I try to like look for people that are Latin American or that, and yeah, now with Instagram, like there's so many, like, and I'm like, oh my god, there's so many people that are so talented. There's like this woman called Bista Butler, and she does like I guess it's like quilts. It's amazing. Like she's
mhm.
amazing. Um, and yeah, so yeah, I mean, from the
So
very famous people to like not too famous people, I guess.
so it seems to me that representation is definitely important to for for you. So would you have any um advice or anything to say to maybe a future artist who came from where you came from? Would you have any advice on how to, I guess, get to where you are today?
Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess just do things and like create things, whether you like them or not, or whether other people like them or not, and see, see where that takes you first. And then, yes, I guess, get like, look at what other people have done, and especially like what other people from where you come from have done, because they have, obviously they're the people that will have similar experiences, and like it's quite nice to see how they have expressed like things that are going to be familiar to you, and like
Mm,
places that are going to be familiar to you, and how they've done that, how they've created their artwork. And it's yeah, it's nice to, then it gives you kind of, for me, it inspires me when I see people um that have done similar things, or have, dealt with similar topics that
mm,
I'm doing, and just seeing how they deal with them and what they do with them. It's it's, it's quite inspiring, and like it informs my work. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of doing research, I guess, like if you were like an academic or a writer or whatever, it'll be like doing research. As artists, we also do like other artists are like part of that research.
okay. Last question, I promise. Where do you see yourself within 10 years?
Oh, I don't know. hopefully hopefully I would like to be able to make a living out of art, and to like, I mean, I would love to be involved in more like projects where I can use art. Like if, like ideally, I would love to, like this project with immigration. Like I would love for like loads of people to get involved and to do loads of art um, with people, and like informed by people. So yeah, hopefully, like ideally in 10 years, I'll be in a place where like, I like, it's very easy for me to get grants. It's very easy for me
Mm,
to get the sort of economical um, side of things, which at the moment it's not. It's like I still need to work
yeah,
quite a lot of the days um, to be able to support myself. So yeah, ideally, yeah, in 10 years, my art will be able to support itself.
that's perfect. I just want to thank you for joining us today. Learned a lot, and I really appreciate the time you spent with us and just your art. Period. You are a very inspirational person, and I just want you to just keep progressing and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank you for inviting me. I mean, it's been lovely speaking to you, and yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And we're just going to end it right here. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
All
have
right,
a lovely day.
you too. Be safe.
You too.
Bye.
Bye bye.